Hey guys, it is week 11 of the SEED2SEED CSA, and we do have some special things in the bags this week, so let's go ahead and check it out. First up, we have a lettuce kale blend. So this week we have Swiss chard, we have tot soy, and we have two different types of kale in there for you. We also have our oyster mushrooms are back. We're battling a little bit of some issues with our heating system and air cooling system in our house where I do my production. So we've got that all figured out now, and we're able to produce on a regular basis again. So got some mushrooms in there for you. This week in our baskets we have cucumbers, and we also have zucchini. There's two different kinds of zucchini. There's a gray and then there's a green, so you could have either one. Let's see, we have the last of the elderberry. So we made jam this week with the elderberry, so you'll have a small jar of jam in there. And then we have our herb and edible flower mix again. So this is a Genovese basil, and these are edible flowers or marigolds. We have a special little thing. A couple of you this week, we just started getting our figs in, so you will have a jar of freshly picked figs. I picked them today. There are a few in there that are riper than others, so if you kind of push down on the fig itself, it should be fairly squishy. Don't push through it, but if it's really firm, which I tried to pick ones that weren't completely firm, but most of these are fairly spongy feeling. So the darker they get, so there's some that are dark right here, the darker they get, the riper they are. So you'll see some that are a little bit more yellow. Just give that a day or two. Keep them in this jar. Keeping them in the jar will actually help them ripen, because as fruit ripens, it produces ethylene, and ethylene is a ripening agent. So as those figs that aren't quite all the way ripe, as they're around the ethylene, it's building up in this glass. It'll help them to ripen a lot faster. So figs for a few of you this week. For those of you who don't get figs this week, your figs will be in next week. And then last but not least, we do have our eggs. This week, some of you will get half a dozen eggs. And the reason that we're down half a dozen eggs is our chickens are actually molting. And molting is a process where the chicken has to de-feather completely and new feathers come in. And when that happens, it's really stressful on the birds. So we've been giving them extra treats, extra cold water. I've been giving them a lot of extra vegetable matter from the farm itself. And then we've also been giving them extra protein with a little bit extra of the larvae from our bins on the farm. The chickens get really irritable, and so when they molt, they tend to not lay as much, okay? So molting usually takes anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 weeks on average, but it can take up to like 12 or 16 weeks. It really depends on the breed of the bird and how well they're handling it. So a little bit less on the eggs this week, but you still get a few eggs. So that's everything that's in the bags this week, and we will see you next week. Next week's the last CSA, and so we're hoping to go out with a big bang, and we'll see you next week.